Monday, September 15th, here on the Just Baseball Show. You got Arm Layton and I am Peter Apple. Arm, get those damn fingers ready because it's time for the weekend roundup where we go through every game that was over the past weekend with all of our takeaways, and it's all brought to us by the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code JUSTBASEBALL. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. Reminder, gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. This is your recap show. If you let football get in the middle of some awesome races down the stretch in Major League Baseball, in case you missed a couple of games, Aram and I are going to recap all of them. But before we do, Aram, you checked off stadium number 31 off the list. Tell us.
Yeah, which is funny because when you divvied up the recaps, you didn't know when you gave me the Twins yet that I was going to be going there. So yeah, it was awesome. Got quick last minute trip. Got my mom and girlfriend involved too, so that made it really fun. And they weren't too far away in Cleveland, my mom, so bopped right over and yeah, made it really special. Two away. I think there was a little bit of like this subconscious procrastination. Because for those who may not know, like this is something I started with my late father, and then I've been continuing it since he passed. And I was like thinking about it, I'm like, why haven't I finished it yet? It's been years. I go to baseball games a million times a year, and I think part of it was like I didn't fully want to close that chapter. Like it's still in my head, like ongoing. It's something that is still going with my dad while he's not here. But then I thought about it. I'm like, no, the whole point is to finish this thing and let's finish it in style and let's have some fun. So I had a blast at that game. Got a great pitching matchup. Joe Ryan, Ryan Nelson. And again, being able to do it with family was super fun. And then I'm gonna save KC. That's the last one, Kansas City, for next year. Maybe when the Fish are going in town, we'll line it all up. We'll figure something out. But very excited about that. But yeah, it was one of those things that I think at first you're like, I don't know if I want to fully close that chapter, but it's like, no, the whole point was to set out and do this. And it was exciting to get one more checked off. I will say, great stadium. There's a lot of really good stadiums that aren't elite like some of the others that just don't get enough love, and understandably so, because you're going to talk about the historic ones, you're going to talk about the really, the Petco Parks of the world and stuff like that. But there's a lot of really good stadiums that just don't get enough love, and I'd say Target Field is one of them.
What are some of the bright spots at Target Field?
Accessibility, number one. I know that sounds lame, but
It's not.
like
It is
in
not
and
lame.
out, in and out. Like I got out of the parking garage, you're like on the highway. It's almost kind of crazy. And then like the stadium is like kind of built on a platform so like traffic can go under, like it's set up perfectly. And then I think they've just done a good job. Like it's sneaky been around now for like 12, 13 years, maybe more, maybe 15 years. Just updating it, so the I just think the entire environment's really good. The food is really, really good. They have this fried chicken, I think like officials or something like that. That was insanely good. They had this burger that was combined with ground meat and some bacon that was ground in there. That was really, really good. It just was a solid ballpark, just a good ballpark, and doesn't get enough love.
Where does it rank before we move on to the weekend roundup
I like to
of all?
tier it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say high. I'm gonna say strong tier two. I'm gonna say
Wow.
high end tier two.
Shout out
And
to the.
I'd say we probably tier it by. I got to decide how many tiers we want to put in this thing. But let's say if we did it in three tiers, I'd say higher tier two.
Good for you. I've never been to Minnesota. I have right now I think I'm on 22 stadiums. But you've also been to stadiums that are now closed.
Yeah, like
That's why
old
you're at
Turner and old Marlins
yeah,
and
you're at
yeah, and old
31 of
Yankee.
32, right?
Yeah,
So I'm 22 total. So really for me it'd be 22 out of 32, but we'll hit them all. We'll hit them all
yep,
one day.
yeah.
And I'd love to go with you to Kansas
Oh,
City as
we're doing
well.
it, baby.
I'm telling you, Kansas City. Now I've heard some bad things as of late. I hope they're wrong. But when I went, I was about 12 years old. Unbelievably super clean, great food, great people, the waterfalls. It was a beautiful park. My 12-year-old self got to watch the Yankees win 14-1. I went to the Negro League Hall of Fame. That
That's the part I'm
museum
really excited
was
about.
fantastic. Like that whole experience was so much fun. But I've heard that it's not as great anymore. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's an incredible experience for you for number 32.
Regardless, it will be. Yeah, I'm excited. We're definitely gonna make it all happen together.
All right, let's get into the series from the past weekend. You're up first.
Yeah, we'll start with Tigers Marlins. I was a little bit sad, like because I've been covering games recently. I'm actually working on a piece. I wouldn't even say as much covering the games, just going there more to be able to talk to some players, whether it be the away team or the home team. We had the Hurston Waldrop piece from a couple weeks ago, and recently sat down just this past week with Jacob Marcy. I'm working on that. That probably won't be out for another few days, but about the swing adjustments and everything he's made from going from like a 700 OPS guy in Double A to a guy that's on pace for like 8 WAR in the big leagues. So look out for that. Breaking that down in a couple days. But I was really upset because I've been going to the ballpark so much over the last couple weeks now that I've been home a little bit more, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna miss Scooble Sandy, and it didn't quite end up being the pitching duel that we thought, but that was because of some extenuating circumstances. That said, Sandy threw really well. It started off with the Marlins and Agustin Ramirez tattooing a 98-mile-per-hour fastball from Scooble, 111 miles per hour just on a line that got out in a hurry. That made it 1-0. Then Heriberto Hernandez launched a solo shot of his own in the second before Scooble ended up leaving the game in the fourth inning with what was called left side tightness. Fortunately, Ibogen came back clean, and he should make his next start, as far as we know at this point. Just some other things to tie up on the game. Joey Wiemer launched a 3-run homer. He's been heating up a little bit since the Marlins claimed him from the Royals, and that really put it out of reach, and the Marlins won 8-2. Sandy Alcantara sharp again, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 8 Ks. Game 2, a little less sexy. Charlie Morton versus Jansen Junk. It was a back and forth game, highlighted by a Kerry Carpenter homer in the third and a Troy Johnston homer in the sixth. It stayed tied at 3 until the 11th inning, where the Tigers took the lead with a Wenceel Perez double. Then the Marlins tied it back up in the home half of the 11th before Troy Johnston called game with a walk-off 2-run shot, his second of the game as well. Such a sick bat flip and just pimp on that. Like I'm sure we got our guy Peyton Genus showing the highlights right now. Like just an ice cold finish to that game, and I love the swagger from Troy. Just also so happy for Troy, Hall of Fame dude, and he's really finally getting an opportunity now in the big leagues and making the most of it. Game 3, you probably wouldn't have thought this would be the pitcher's duel of the matchup or of the series here, but it was. Kyler Montero versus Adam Azier, and it really was a pitcher's duel. The Tigers scored 2 unearned runs on Major in the second inning, headlined by a Dylan Dingler single, and that's all they needed. Kyler Montero was excellent. 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 5 Ks. Major was fantastic as well, though. 6 innings, those 2 unearned runs, 1 hit, 2 walks, 4 Ks. But ultimately, the Tigers salvaged the series and win that one 2-0. Great series from the Marlins. They take 2 out of 3, but I think important for the Tigers going into their next series to just get that win on their way out. And yeah, I don't think you're overly worried about it. You ran into a guy that's throwing really well in game 1. Game 2 was a back and forth, lost a coin flip game, and then you answered back in game 3.
Yeah, I really got nothing on the Tigers, from a macro level. This was one of those series you go into a road environment against a team that you haven't really seen. Your best player, one of the best players on earth, gets hurt, doesn't look great. You lose that game, then you split the next two, whatever. Not many macro takeaways from the Detroit Tigers. And unfortunately, not many about the Marlins, just because it's like the season is winding down. But it's good that they're still playing good baseball going
Yeah.
into the offseason. Helps a lot of those young players feel good going into next year, as the Marlins are going to get a lot of their guys back healthy, which takes me into my first takeaway. Sandy. I don't
Yeah.
know if anybody has noticed. I'm sure you have if you listen to this show. But Sandy in the second half, pitching to a 3.34 ERA, and this ain't no short sample. This is 70 innings of work compared to his front half of 91 innings to a 7.22 ERA. Sandy looks back to me, maybe not 100% of Sandy like we saw when he won the unanimous Cy Young, but 80% of a unanimous Cy Young is still an ace in our league. And it's so nice seeing Sandy return from Tommy John, find his footing like this, and, continue to supplant himself as one of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball. Second takeaway from me, if you were wondering, what are Tarek Scooble's odds to win Cy Young? Right? He's going to make his next start, but there was a lot of questions. BetMGM thinks he has a 97% chance based on the odds. He is minus 3,000. You want to get exact, that's an implied probability of 96.77%.
Jeez.
So the sports books have decided, yeah,
It's a wrap.
still Scooble. Still
Yeah.
Scooble. But Crochet is pitching right now on Sunday Night Baseball, and the score is only 6-0 Red Sox in the freaking bottom of the second inning. Good job, Will Warren. But who knows, maybe him or Hunter Brown, who had a good start this weekend, can catch him. But the books have made their decision. Yeah. It's Scooble.
Especially now that it looks like he's probably not even going to miss a start. So that's huge for Scooble and, of course, just for the game in general.
Maybe
My only other takeaway is Griffin Conine on rehab. Hit a ball 450. He looks awesome. Dude, the Marlins, like Jacksonville lineup right now is four big leaguers that are all on rehab getting back. So you get those guys back, to your point, for the last 2 weeks of the season here, sprint through the finish line and feel pretty damn good about where you're at, I think, as a team going into next year. And maybe you can surprise some people next year. So I think that's the positive side for the Marlins. Diamondbacks Twins.
You were in person. In person recap.
I got to watch. I was sitting behind home plate. I got to really enjoy the induced vertical break in game 2. But starting with game 1, Brandon Pfaadt versus Pablo Lopez. Twins got ahead 6-2 in large part to a pair of Cody Clemens homers. But the D-backs started to chip away in the 7th. Geraldo Perdomo hit a 2-run shot to cut the deficit to 2. And then a 4-run 9th, headlined by a 3-run shot by Gabriel Moreno, made it seem like that the Diamondbacks might be back in the driver's seat, right? That sent the Diamondbacks into the bottom of the 9th with a 2-run lead. But when Jake Woodford is your closer, you may need a little bit more cushion.
I feel like you're hating on Jake Woodford too much. I even saw a tweet from you. I'm like, what did Jake Woodford do to you?
I know, dude.
The Dbacks are out of it. They've seen their whole bullpen get destroyed. He's tried his best, and Arm's just out here hating on Jake Woodford.
It's not about you, Jake Woodford. I'm glad you're getting this opportunity. It's just the idea that a team that is reasonably in the wild card race, and I know it's just circumstantial. I'm not even criticizing the D-backs for it. It's just like you are very much in the playoff race, and we've got Jake Woodford in save situations. That guy's been a minor league free agent like for 5 straight years.
It's sometimes what happens in
baseball is so
the middle of September with 2 teams who are kind of out of it.
Well, what do you think happened? Cody Clemens hit his 3rd homer of the game. That trimmed it to 1 run, and then the wheels totally fell off. Another run was walked in, and then a sac fly from Luke Keyshaw walked it off. 9-8 Twins. Pablo Lopez was good. 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Get to game 2. Joe Ryan versus Ryan Nelson. It seemed like it was going to be a pitcher's duel out of the gate, but then Alek Thomas really got things going with a no-doubter. This thing was like, it was a shot. Like, you could just hear it reverberate through the entire stadium. That was 110.6 miles per hour off the bat for him. His hardest hit ball since 2023. But then Cody Clemens stayed hot and tied things up with a 2 RBI single in the 8th. The D-backs poured it on in the 10th with an RBI single from Gabriel Moreno and a 2 RBI double from Blaze Alexander. 5-2 win for the D-backs. But Ryan Nelson was really, really sharp in that one. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the takeaways. Game 3, Nabil Crismatt versus Bailey Ober. Again, this is a team that is very realistically in the playoff hunt. Nabil Crismatt, he's actually been fine for them, but he's getting the ball here. Twins got off to a 2-1 lead. Then a James McCann 3-run shot made it 4-2 Diamondbacks. Matt Wallner and Mickey Gasper kept things close for the Twins, but the D-backs answered each time, ultimately winning 6-4. Crismatt, suck it, Arum. 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 Ks. Bailey Ober, 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, and 9 Ks. Diamondbacks, they needed to take 2 out of 3 in that series. They do. Couple things that I noticed. The Diamondbacks are definitely in, like, and I know it's like, duh, it's their job, but definitely invested. Like, I've seen teams through the years that after you sell, even though the fans feel like they're mathematically alive, the team doesn't act like they're mathematically alive. I didn't get that sense with the way the Diamondbacks are playing. And also, like, got there really early, just listening to the conversations. listening to the dugout, man, like when they got a big out, when if Jake Woodford got a guy out to get out of the jam, like you could hear that roar from the dugout. Like they're fired up. And I think they want to prove something here. At least this is what I feel is like, hey, we sold, yeah, but we still have an all-star team here. And we can get to the playoffs with this offense. Obviously, this is not a team that you're expecting to make much noise in the playoffs. But when you look at the offense and it's clicking and guys are doing their thing, especially with Moreno back in this lineup, this team can hit with the best of them. And when they got the right starter on the bump, a la Ryan Nelson, can win a lot of games. The bullpen's obviously the problem, and it's why they're not going to be able to, potentially make a run in the playoffs. But I mean, I'm not ruling them out of the wild card, and that's at least what I felt here. Just because I think they can slug enough to win some of these games. I think it's going to take faltering ahead of them, but I don't think they're going to just fold, I guess is my point. Like, I don't think they're just going to go I don't know how many games they'll have, 4-9 the rest of the way and call it a season.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's the offense is too good. And when they get like decent outings from their starter, they're in every game. And to your point, right, they're 2 games out of the final wild card spot right now as the Mets are 77 and 73, Giants are 75 and 74, Diamondbacks are 75 and 75. I mean, the Reds getting swept by the A's.
That was the other reason why I felt that way
It,
too. I'm
it,
like that.
it
That's a
keeps
team that.
it keeps the Snakes in it. And I think a big reason why the Snakes are in it is the guy that you watched, Ryan Nelson. Ryan Nelson, if we look post All-Star break, where he really settled in as a starter for the Diamondbacks, pitched with 3.23 ERA. 3.23 in 64 innings.
Fantastic.
But of course, it's a short sample. Got to see it again next year for us to start to believe it.
I will
Well,
say I'm having an easier time believing at least that he's going to be solid for them because they had the induced vertical break there too, which is great. I love when they have that. He was ripping fastballs at like 99 miles an hour with like 20 vert. And when he needed it, like it was 2 strikes, dial back for a little bit extra. And like that's like a 70 grade heater. That's like almost an 80 grade heater. He was, whenever he needed it, he was dialing it up and reaching back for it. Now, for him to be, this guy consistently, he's going to need better secondaries and he's going to need to trust those a little bit more. And so that's the big, part of this thing to be able to extrapolate this over, multiple seasons and things like that. But there ain't no question in that fastball. And it was really cool seeing that up close and personal. Like that thing is lively and he was dominating with it.
so it's funny. The reason I'm so bullish on him is because of what you just said, that he still needs to unlock some of these secondaries to truly establish himself. So basically working as a fastball dominant pitcher
Yeah.
in the second half, pitched with 3.24 ERA, all of this season through 143 innings, 3.34 ERA with a 3.7 FIP. So this is him just bully balling fastballs.
And it's more than 60% fastball usage.
Imagine if another breaking ball becomes plus
Yeah.
and he's able to locate it better. Then you already have this golden fastball, this absolute weapon that you can go through most lineups and turn in quality starts. But then those starts start to look a lot better when you're able to locate the off speed and breaking balls and all that good stuff. I mean, if you look at the Diamondbacks, Burns is their ace. Going into next year with Gallen leaving, unless it's a QO thing, I'm not really sure.
That's the only way I think he comes back is if he
Probably.
takes a QO.
Kelly's obviously gone. He's in Texas. You still have Fott. You still have Eduardo Rodriguez. You still have other arms. Nelson's the 2, like bona fide 2.
Yeah.
Which is huge because he was working out of the bullpen for most of his time in Arizona before, this last season and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So it's been huge for them one way or another. 6 straight 6 innings plus starts for him as well.
Fastball. That's why I'm so bullish on it. It's fastball, 60%. You know it's coming, and he's still delivering.
I would love to see if he could find maybe a splitter or something this offseason. You alluded to this series. It was really weird. Reds versus A's.
Yeah.
Game 1, Brady Singer versus JT. Again, this is going to be a quick one. Ready? 3 solo shots. 1 by Lawrence Butler, 2 by Carlos Cortez. That's it. It was 3 zip. Singer was good again, man. I think he
Yeah.
continues to be one of the most underrated performers right now in Major League Baseball. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks. JT Ginn, 4 1/3, 2 hits, no earned, 4 walks, 6 Ks, effectively wild. But again, Cortez, kind of the theme, honestly, through this series. He was really good. Game two. Well, this could be a pitcher's duel, right? Hunter Green versus Luis Severino. No.
Nope.
It was 5-5 through 4 innings. Then
Yeah.
the Athletics scored 6 unanswered, capped off by a 493-foot Nick Kurtz grand slam. Instead of just taking you through it all, I'll just tell you who homered. Will Benson, Brent Rooker, Carlos Cortez, Tyler Stevenson, 3-run variety, and then that aforementioned Kurtz grand slam. Green was roughed up for 5 earned runs and 2 1/3. He walked 4. Severino managed through 5 innings, allowing 5 earned, walked 2 and struck out 2, but kept his team in it enough, and the offense did their thing. Game three, also a battle of homers in a Nick Lodolo versus Luis Morales start. Noelvi Marte homered in the first to make it 1-0. Will Benson hit a 2-run shot in the second to make it 3-0. Then Jacob Wilson hit a solo shot in the fourth to make it 3-1. Colby Thomas made it 3-2 with his own solo shot. Nick Kurtz hit a 2-run shot in the fifth, gave them a 4-3 lead, the Athletics that is. Then Brett Harris decided to be different, hit an RBI double to make it 5-3. Brent Rooker blew it open with a 2-run shot in the seventh to make it 7-3. And then for good measure, South Stewart just decided to mix in a homer. That was a solo shot as well. 7-4 final score. 7 total homers in this one. Nick Lodolo, 5 1/3, 8 hits, 5 earned, no walks, 5 Ks. Luis Morales, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Athletics sweep. All of a sudden, they're 70 and 80. They're finishing the year strong. Everything we said about the Marlins,
Yep.
copy, paste, maybe even times 2 with the Athletics going into next year. And by the way, Leo DeVries has an OPS over 1,000 in his last 10 games as an 18-year-old in Double-A, and has, I think, an OPS over 900 in his last 30-something games in Double-A. Like, the guy's playing out of his mind. So you got a lot of positives right now, I think, for the Athletics.
That home run by Nick Kurtz, 493 feet. People are asking for Peter Vision. I'm like, no. Peter Vision
No,
is not for those. It's for the ones that go 408 feet when
that
it
didn't.
clearly goes
Yeah.
out of the stadium.
That
And I'm
was that
like,
was
it's
that was a
clear
good read. That was
that
493.
was, I mean, and Dallas Braden's call. Good Lord. Just an absolute moonshot off the bat of it. How many first basemen you taking over Nick Kurtz next year?
Dude, it's a short. If I'm trying to think about, I mean, you can just go to the established vet, like the Freddie Freemans of the world and stuff like that. But then it becomes really difficult when you. And I think people at first would be like, "Well, what are you saying? Like, don't get ahead of yourselves. It's a rookie, whatever."
It's true.
This is some unprecedented shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is some unprecedented shit. If you include the homer that he hit on Sunday. He has a 174 WRC plus. This isn't some small sample. This is 105 games we're talking about here. 32 home runs in 105 games. This guy's an MVP candidate if he had played a full season. He's not winning it, obviously, because Aaron Judge and what Cal is doing. But he'd be a top 5 MVP finisher. He'll probably still get down ballot votes. Like I mean, it's been ridiculous to see.
And it's not like the defense is bad either.
No, it's funny. I actually am surprised he's not grading out better. OAA doesn't love him. DRS likes him. He's a good defender.
Yeah.
I can promise you. I don't know why, but he'll grade out better as time passes. But yeah, there's a first baseman that's about to give you close to a 5-win season after getting brought up late and being hurt a little bit. And he's not going to play more than 120 games.
Got drafted last year. 2024. Last year. Incredible.
And got underslot. Like,
My last
crazy.
takeaway, I feel so bad for Reds fans. I was thinking about it this past weekend watching this series. Like, I'm not even a Reds fan, and I am so fed up with this team. The inconsistency, they look great in one series, bad the next, and it just flip-flops. And that's why they're around 500.
Yep.
But they don't play, they play like a 500 team because of how inconsistent they are. But sometimes they look like they could win 95 games. And
They have more talent than a 500 team. With the pitching staff.
And sometimes they look like the worst team ever.
Yep.
Like everything goes wrong.
Yep.
This team has made the postseason 4 times since 1995. Only twice have they made it past the wild card round in 30 years. They don't spend enough. They bring in like just that kind of piece to keep Reds fans going to the stadium. And when we went to Great American Ballpark on opening day, that stadium was electric. But
Yep.
here's the thing about some of the fans. Remember when I recorded on the field and I said Reds 80 plus wins? Why I'm
Yeah,
bullish
they're
on
like,
them?
why?
That was the response. It was, what are you doing to yourself? This ownership, this team has broken the fan base. You
Yeah.
see it on Reds Twitter. It's like I genuinely feel bad for these people. They're all great people. They're all the nicest people. I
Well,
can
and they
name
thought that they could just hire a veteran manager and it's all fixed now. And I love Francona's done so many great things in this game and he's a legend. But you can't just say, oh, because he's a legend, like, and he's been around forever, he's just going to sprinkle wisdom all over our young players. Like, there's a reason why I think the time kind of came in Cleveland and they went another direction. And I think it was just kind of a lazy approach. Not to say that they couldn't have succeeded with Tito, but I think they did the old like slap the tape on the leak and say, oh, like here's Francona. Here's a veteran, Hall of Fame type of manager. Like he'll push us across the finish line. No, it's culture and it starts from top to bottom. And it feels like there's just always a little bit of disruption here. I don't know how to describe it. This team is very frantic. It's very hard for me to figure out. But something needs to change. Like they need to shake up the roster. I don't know what that's going to look like. I think maybe you trade away from some of that pitching depth that you have all of a sudden, and you got to shake that lineup up. There's a lot of talent. I know there's guys that you may not want to move. There's guys that you may not want to sell low on. Whatever. You got to shake some shit up. And I do wonder if Tito is the right guy for this very young team and being able to align with them. Things just feel disjointed when I'm checking in on the Reds, and I can't fully describe it. But that's just how I feel.
it's really, really tough to watch because you never have, it's hard to have a take about this team. You'll have a take after a series and it'll die the next.
Yep.
It's hard to have like just have a soft landing and be like, these are the Reds. They're one of the
Yep.
most confusing teams in baseball. And I have a question for all the Reds fans listening, and I would love to hear some feedback in the YouTube comments. I know that we're going to be talking about it in the Discord after, on Monday when everybody's hearing this show. Is this worse? I think it was 2022, if my memory serves me correctly, when you guys went 62 and 100. I almost wonder if that's better on the mental. Knowing you're bad, knowing it's horrible, knowing you're at rock bottom, looking towards the future versus this. Because this has got to be just hell. I mean, this is the definition of purgatory. This is,
Yeah.
we're right there. There's hope. Then it dies. Then there's hope. Then it dies. It's like Reds fans' hearts. That's what I want to check in on most of all, outside of Mets fans. I mean, this has been a disaster.
Nah, that's
We'll talk
funny
about
though.
that in a minute. But for the Reds, like they went to the NLCS last year. They can handle it. I'm talking
Yep.
about the Reds. Hopefully everybody's heart's okay. Like go
Yeah.
get some, I don't know what's good heart medicine, but
Yeah.
Cincinnati needs
Just
it.
breathe,
Yeah, geez.
relax.
Because I'm
And
feeling it. I'm pissed. And
one
like what? I'm a
and
Yankee
Joe,
fan who's on like who just does a national show and I'm pissed. Can't
yeah,
imagine that.
I'm frustrated with it too. And it all starts with ownership. It really does. And I think you have to look at the front office and say maybe what we're doing just isn't good enough. And maybe we need to shake that side of things up too. Dodgers Giants. This was a fun series. Game one did not
Giants.
disappoint. Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Justin Verlander. The Giants scored first on a Willie Adames RBI double. It stayed 1-0 until the seventh when Michael Conforto tied the game up with a solo shot. Then in the bottom of the 10th, Patrick Bailey launched a walk-off grand slam. Who would have thought? Yamamoto was excellent again, though. 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned, 1 walk, 10 Ks. In his last 4 starts, opponents are hitting 106 against him. In 28 and two-thirds innings, he's allowed 5 earned runs. It's a 1.57 ERA. How about Justin Verlander, though? 7 innings. That guy's never going to get a win, though. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 4 walks, 4 Ks. His last 3 starts, 18 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 8 walks, 20 Ks. I mean, I just love seeing Verlander go out there and battle and still give you good starts. Yamamoto's, we've talked about in the last couple episodes. He's been one of the best. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Game two, Kershaw versus Logan Webb. It was a complete shootout. The Giants went up 4-1 in the first inning. Then the Dodgers scored 9 unanswered. But then the Giants showed some signs of life, bringing it to 9-7. But the Dodgers put their foot on the gas with 4 more unanswered. Logan Webb was roughed up for 6 earned runs in 4 innings. Kershaw allowed 4 earned runs in 3 innings. Just highlight some notable performances. Ohtani had 3 hits and a homer. Freddie Freeman had 3 hits. And Teoscar Hernandez had 3 hits and 3 RBIs. Game 3, Tyler Glasnow versus Robbie Ray. This was all Dodgers. They put up 10 runs without hitting a homer. Teoscar Hernandez had 4 hits. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Michael Conforto each had 3 hits, with Conforto driving in 3. Tyler Glasnow was sharp, 6 2/3, 3 hits, 1 earned, 4 walks, 4 Ks. Dodgers win that one 10-2, and they take 2 of 3 in that series.
Couple things. Good to see Tommy Edman back. Good to see Max Muncy back, but unfortunately got hit on the wrist over the weekend. Luckily, X-rays came back negative, so he's going to be back and what seems to be fully healthy. So Dodgers lineup is getting some reinforcements. I don't want to be mean, but it would be nice not to watch Michael Conforto ABs anymore.
That was one of my takeaways was going to be that this series was kind of good from him.
I know it was kind of good for him, but at the same time,
I know.
I'm more because again, it's when I watch Dodger games, I'm not looking for anything in the here and now. I'm really not because I've honestly learned it about them. It's just like stop evaluating them on a micro scale. So like Conforto has a good series, good for him. But these reinforcements are going to come back like in the playoffs where it matters. Conforto should not be in the lineup.
He's still hitting 195 or whatever. So
exactly. He's got an 81 WRC plus. A macro trend, though, that I do want to point out, and I have full faith that the Dodgers, they get a couple guys back healthy, that they're going to figure it out. I'm just saying the bullpen could be an issue in the playoffs. Now, not a big issue. The lineup is so good. The starting rotation with Snell and Glasnow throwing the way they are, with Yamamoto just being a king, with Ohtani as well, they're good. But if I were just to poke a hole, the bullpen is not nearly what it was on their World Series run. Because on their World Series run, yes, the lineup was great. The starting rotation was good, right? Not great. The bullpen, every inning, you're starting in the 4th, in the 5th, and you're getting a closer level guy pitching to the peak of his powers. Yeah. This year, it's not even close to that. It's not a bad bullpen by any stretch, but it is something to watch with the Dodgers. Like, if it's a tie game in the 2024 playoffs, I'm like, the other team isn't scoring, so it's just a matter of time before the Dodgers get there. Now, I'm not so sure about that. Again, they could be great in the playoffs, and this could be no big deal. But what I have been noticing is that for a while, this bullpen has not been even close to that 2024 squad.
I think Tanner Scott's like the biggest X factor
Huge.
there.
Treinen too. These two got to be better.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's definitely different, and we'll see like if they can get hot at the right time. But it does feel a little bit different from before. And then the only other takeaway is that, I mean, they didn't get swept, so that's the good side of it. They still, the Giants, that is, feel like they're, they are the closest to the Mets right now, but they're a game and a half back now, and so it's going to get late quick here. And it's funny now, all of a sudden, this series with the Giants and the Diamondbacks is, I mean, really, I think whoever comes out of that, however, winning 2 out of 3, it's ultimately going to decide it here. And that's what we got coming up this week. And because I think for the Mets, you're looking forward to the fact that they're beating up on each other. You control your own destiny here. But I think this is going to be kind of a good separator at a good time for these two teams here. Diamondbacks go in having won 2 straight, albeit against the Twins. Giants go in having lost 2 straight, albeit against the Dodgers. So we'll see. It'll be a good test between those two teams. Last series for me, Padres versus Rockies. Game 1, McCade Brown versus Randy Vasquez. This is a quick one. Luis Arias RBI single and a Jackson Merrill solo homer was it. because Randy Vasquez did the thing where you have no idea how he does it, but he does it. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 9 Ks. Padres win 2-0. Game two, Tanner Gordon versus JP Sears. Manny Machado's solo shot got things started, but a 4-run fourth inning put the Rockies on top with homers from Blaine Crim, the first of his career, and Kyle Farmer. Rockies win 4-2. Tanner Gordon, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 9 Ks. JP Sears, 4 1/3, 5 hits, 4 earned, 1 walk, but he did strike out 8. Game three, Bladley Blaylock versus Dylan Cease. This was all Padres. Tatis, Machado, and Merrill each homered. Ramon Laureano drove in 3. Dylan Cease went 6 innings of 1 run ball, walked 1, and struck out 6. Padres won that one decidedly. Then in game 4, Herman Marquez versus Yu Darvish. Padres went up 7-zip in the third inning behind a 3-run shot from Jackson Merrill and a few RBI knocks. But then a pair of Mickey Moniak homers and a Mickey Moniak RBI brought the Rockies within 1 run. But then the Padres ultimately held on 9-6. Herman Marquez, 2 1/3, 9 hits, 6 earned. He didn't strike out anybody. Yu Darvish, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned, no walks, 5 Ks. My main takeaway here, because there's not a ton to take away, Merrill heating up a little bit. And you love to see that. Manny Machado heating up a little bit.
Good.
You love to see that. But most specifically, Jackson Merrill, you know how good he is. I really do think this year has just been unfortunate for him with the concussion, other injuries. He's been banged up all year. If this guy gets hot at the right time, we talked about it, totally changes the dynamic of a lineup now that is a lot deeper than it was, earlier in the year.
Yeah, I got to be honest. The Rockies have not been on my television since probably the end of July. There's so much good baseball going on, playoff races, great players. I never get to take anything away from those series because, the Padres just mopped the floor of them.
Yep.
I mean, the Rockies are 41 and 109. They're 36 games out of the
Yeah,
wild
I
card.
mean
It's
sad. I feel bad for Rockies fans, but
I
the
agree.
team is a disgrace, and it's because of terrible ownership, and it's just, I mean, they're historically terrible.
Yeah, when I'm watching Rockies baseball, it's in the corner of big inning. That's when I'm seeing the Rockies on my TV. So I didn't have a takeaway because I didn't really watch much of the series outside of the corner box on the big inning on,
Yeah.
MLB TV. So good for the Padres. Glad they're heating up. I mean, I still got this World Series ticket. I'm not giving up. This offense they need to get going because they're going to pitch. Bullpen's too good. And rotation with King back is, really, really solid. When
That's huge. I mean,
yeah,
getting King back is
Pavetta, Cease, and Darvish, you can at least deploy him as a weapon against the Dodgers. His numbers against them are outrageous. So they have a good rotation. It's just, can they hit? Can Tatis slug? Can Merrill look like he did? Can Machado, I remember that series against the Dodgers when they had a chance to take over the division and he went like 2 for 16.
Yeah.
Can you be clutch in big moments? That's what's going to let the Padres potentially rise to the World Series, because if the lineup is swinging it like they are, they can hang with anybody. But if the lineup performs like it has really over the last month, they're done.
Yeah.
They're just the National League is too strong. They can't compete if the offense isn't swinging it. So good to see those guys heat up.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is, I mean, Manny Machado has a 614 OPS over his last 40 games. So people are talking about Jackson Merrill. I think Merrill has more of an excuse, I think, than Machado right now. You want to see Machado pick it up, and I think he will, because he's a gamer. But it's about time. So this series, I think, showed some signs of life in that regard. Also, homers in each of the last Friday game and the Saturday game, 2 hits in each of those contests. So those are things that you like to see. Your turn.
It is my turn, but I think it's time for our first break. All right, let's look at Pirates Nationals. Anyone outside of Pittsburgh or Washington catch this series?
Anyone inside of Pittsburgh or Washington catch a series?
Game one, Nationals win 6-5. Pittsburgh held a 3-0 lead going into the bottom of the sixth, highlighted by a Spencer Horwitz 2-run shot and 5 shutout innings from Mitch Keller. But in the sixth, Brady House homered. Then in the seventh, Dylan Cruz did the same to give Washington the lead, and then Josh Bell drove home 2 on a single to make it 6-3. Pittsburgh would battle back, but just came up short. Move to game two. Pittsburgh wins 5-1. They get revenge. Serious pitchers duel between Bubba Chandler and Andrew Alvarez. I actually caught a few innings of this one as both went 6 innings. Bubba looked awesome. He only allowed 2 hits and 1 run, struck out 7, while Alvarez blanked them. I didn't really know who this guy was, and I thought he looked good, only allowing 3 hits while striking out 5. All of the Pirates' runs came late as McCutchen gave Pittsburgh the lead in the eighth on a two-run single. Then Nick York did the same. Then Jared Triolo hit his sixth home run of the year. Pirates win, move to game three. Nationals win 4-3 and win the series. Game got off to a hot start as Nick Gonzalez hit a bases clearing triple for Pittsburgh in the top of the first. But in the bottom of the second, Nats tied it on RBIs from Paul DeJong. Nasim Nunez and Jacob Young stayed tied until the eighth, where Dalen Lyle, good player.
Mm-hmm.
Dalen Lyle, sneaky good, scoring James Wood, and that ended up being the winning run. Nationals improved to 62 and 87. Pirates fall to 65 and 85. What do you got?
Dalen Lyle's a good player.
He
I'm glad you
is.
mentioned that. I have some really cheap baseball cards that I was scooping up early in the year. When I did the national system going into this year, that was the player that I just remember coming away with and just thinking, man, for a player that no one talks about in the minor leagues, this guy has a really good chance of being a solid big leaguer. And I think we're seeing that. And he's still just 22 years old. So this is a player that I think you look at what they can do next year and like how this team could start to get better, like building around, you know what James Wood is and you know what some of the other key guys are. It's the complementary pieces and how big of a step forward can he take? Really like Lyle. I think Bubba Chandler's start, I mean, that had to get you really fired up if you're a Pirates fan. The fastball just dominating at the top. But what I loved is he blended the fastball dominating at the top with a lot of ground ball outs too. So being able to do both of those things is where you want to see Bubba Chandler at his best, right? And I think that's exactly what he was able to do. His fastball averaged 99.4 miles per hour in that start. I think there's a fire lit under Bubba. He had a bad start the timeout before that, and nine earned to the Brewers. I think he really wanted to, prove it here next time out, and he did. So that's my other big takeaway. I think you're trying to look for themes for these two teams as you go into next year, which both look, they're in a bad spot this year, but both can conceivably be decent next year if they address things the right way and a couple of their young players take a leap. Bubba's a huge guy in that picture for Pittsburgh. You got a couple guys that you're looking at, I think, in Washington that fit that profile as well. Only other thing I'll say is one of those guys for me is Dylan Cruz, and
Yeah.
he homered in the series, but I don't want to say it's imperative. He's 23, but I think it is important for him to finish this year strong. He was hurt. He missed a lot of time with injury, but you look at the big league numbers so far for Cruz. You look at the just consistent challenges against sliders. It would be really nice for him to finish this year strong because I think if he really limps through the finish line here, I'm not saying that clouds his career outlook or anything like that, but I do think it's going to just kind of fan a little bit of a fire of conversation of what does Dylan Cruz need to look like in 2026? And I think it's just going to put more pressure on Cruz going into 2026. Pressure that I think he can handle, but going into 2026, it's kind of time to show what you got at that point, I think.
I think he will. And
I
maybe that's
agree.
just,
It's the injury really disrupted it.
yeah.
It's just there's some at bats, man, where I'm like, woo.
Yeah.
But I think
But then
he's
there's
looking
some
better.
at bats where he looks great. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
it's up and down. It's up and
yeah,
down. So if he can just stay more consistent, hopefully he can develop into that player that the Nationals thought he could be, and what a lot of us thought he could be when he was taken number two overall a few drafts ago.
yeah.
Let's move over to Royals versus Phillies. Game one, Phillies win big 8-2. Michael Garcia struck first for KC. But from there, it was all Phillies. Harper and Stott homered, Schwarber and Bader both at RBI doubles, and Walker freaking Bueller threw
Yeah.
5 innings, a one-run ball in his debut. Shout out Walker, could be a weapon in the playoffs. Can't forget low threes ERA over 94 innings in October in Bueller's career. Let's move to game two. Phillies win 8-6. Both teams come out hot. KC put up 3 in the first, highlighted by Salvador Perez's 26th big fly of the season. Marsh would drive in 2 on a double, and then Salvi homered again, his 27th and his 300th of his career. He and Johnny Bench are the only catchers to hit 300 home runs with one team, and on that swing, recorded his 1,000th RBI, which only 10 active players can say the same. But Philly just rained all over that parade as Kyle Schwarber hit his 51st bomb to tie it, and then Philly just kept pouring on, highlighted by Brandon Marsh's 10th home run of the year. We moved to game three. Royals got to get a win, and they got it big, 10-3. This was all Phillies until the fifth inning. Aaron Nola had 4 shutout innings. Schwarber and Real Muto homered, but then the wheels fell off. Jack Caglione had a 2-run shot in the 5th. Then Salvi homered in the 6th. Then Salvi drove in 2 more on a single in the 7th. And all of a sudden, it was 8-3 Royals. Now, Bryson Stott homered late, but so did Bobby Witt Jr. And this ended in a rout. Noah Cameron, another great start. Great season. 7 innings, 2 earned, 7 Ks, only 4 hits allowed. ERA is down to 2.98. Phillies improved to 89-61, and with the Giants' loss, clinch a playoff berth. Royals fall to 75-75, 6 games out of the wild card. It's funny, if the Royals were in the National League, they would be 2 games out of the wild card. But they're in the American League. But the American League isn't quite as strong. It's like the wild card teams are much stronger in the AL, but the National League division winners are just so damn good. It's a really shitty year to be a American League wild card team.
So if the Royals were in the National League, who would you like them better than the Giants or the Diamondbacks or the Reds to be able to upend the Mets? Like, where would you rank them? Where would they fit in between those 3?
So I think I'm going to answer this question later. I got a good feeling about the Mets. I don't think they're going to roll.
Yeah. So I agree with that. Let's just, for theoretically, this is more of a Giants, Diamondbacks, Reds question versus Royals.
I believe the Giants are playing good baseball. They ran into the Dodgers. The Dodgers are awesome. They won one of those games, a big time win. I would take the Giants.
It's really interesting with the D-backs because
yeah,
I think the Royals are a more well-rounded team because they can actually pitch.
They're a better team, but the D-backs
just have so much
more explosive, and they could come out and just beat the hell out of you with that lineup. With the Reds, no idea. Yeah. Like the Reds could sweep the Royals or get swept by the Royals.
Yeah,
easily. Either two of those things can happen.
Yeah.
And then who else?
That's really it.
Yeah,
I was thinking you were going to put them between
par with the D-backs. Yeah. Kind of like the record says. Yeah. I know that's like a cop out, but that's
no. I agree. I agree. I was just curious, kind of where I think the Giants are playing pretty darn good ball right now overall, and they're a legitimate threat. I think D-backs they're going to have to really mash, like we talked about.
Also, Phillies fans hate me right now after our last 2 drafts. Taking their pitching staff low, taking their offense low. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm not appreciating the Phillies enough. But what I will say is I re-looked at it and I was like, I stand by what I was saying. I'm not in love with this Phillies bullpen. I think the starting rotation has questions, even though Jesus Luzardo got to 200 strikeouts.
10 Ks. If they're getting that Luzardo,
but I can't. I don't know if I'm getting that Luzardo against playoff teams. That's why it's so tough. And then it's like the lineup, it does feel a little bit reliant on Schwarber and Harper, who are awesome, but I don't know. The Phillies are not my World Series pick. I guess we'll see if I'm right or wrong.
They made a decent statement in this series, at least. They did. But yeah.
I mean, the Phillies are awesome. No doubt about it, right? I'm holding them to a very high, pedigree here, but they've earned it. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not like I'm rooting against the Phillies by any stretch of the imagination. Those are some of the DMs I'm getting. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I'm not. All right, let's move over to Astros versus Braves. Game 1, Astros win 11-3. Astros put up 10 runs by the 5th inning. This one was over quick. It's crazy, like, the Braves got a lot of the airwaves. I know I just started, but I have to get this out of my brain. The Braves got a lot of airwaves when they were so disappointing to start, right? And it was like, oh my God, the Braves are really going to have this bad of a season? They've just been terrible since also. Like, I think that should be like noticed more, is that the Braves, their record after this series, 66-83. They're below the Marlins. They're a game better than the Pirates this year.
Yeah.
Like that, I was watching.
Yeah, that is crazy to think about.
Wait, the Braves are like actually terrible.
Yeah.
Like just one of the worst teams in the league with the second highest win total going into the season. I got to do some research. Like,
yeah, I'm actually, please come to the next episode with like how, like, what are the most catastrophic by nature of what your over-under win total was and where you finished at? Like, what are the biggest misses in terms of like how far off from a losing perspective?
The Braves were plus 125 to win this division. The Phillies were next at plus
What was their win
255, but
total?
they're
90,
like
90.
95 and a half.
I mean, they're not even gonna get close.
They're they I mean, they're at 66 and 83. They might
They
win
might not get
70
within
games
20
this year.
games. Yeah, they might not get within 20 games.
Incredible. All right, let's talk about the series. They got destroyed in game one. Zach Cole started the scoring with his first home run of his career and finished the day with 3 hits. Altuve homered, Christian Walker had 3 hits and 2 RBIs, and Hurston Waldrop just got murked for 8 earned runs and 4 2/3. Really talented arm.
Yeah.
Big fan of his.
I'm glad he got a couple good starts in after the piece because I do. He's going to be good
Oh
for a
no,
while.
he's going to be totally fine. It's one bad start against the Astros, who need a win. Like I'm
Yeah.
not worried about him at all. I was just like,
But yeah, 8 earned.
I said it because I was surprised. He'd been
Yeah.
pitching great and just a tough start. It's all right. Game two, Astros won 6-2. Another game that was just over before it started. Astros put up 6 runs between the second and the third inning, highlighted by Christian Walker's 23rd home run of the season. Olsen would homer late, his 24th, but it was barely a fight. And of course, Hunter Brown was Hunter Brown. 6 2/3, 2 earned, ERA down to 2.27. What a year. What a season. Game three, Braves win 8-3. They rebounded. This game was a 2-2 tie going into the fifth, highlighted by a Matt Olson dinger for Atlanta's 25th. But after RBI hits from Albies and Ha-Seong Kim, gap just became too much for Houston. Cam Smith homered, but Ozzie Albies added another RBI hit, and Sandy Leone ruined Craig Kimbrell's homecoming to Atlanta with his first home run of the year. Fromber struggled, allowing 5 earned in 4 innings. Astros fall to 80 or improve, excuse me, to 81 and 69, but fall out of first place because nobody's hotter than the Seattle Mariners right now. Again, Braves fall to 66 and 83 arms. 66 and 83.
Yeah, it's not very good. The Astros, man, every time I'm like, oh, are they fading? Who are they? I don't know. I don't know. Another team that's really difficult to decipher. But as you alluded to in our offensive draft, like, and I agree, and when we talked about it, is they just got to get to the playoffs, and then they've got some of the most accomplished players in the history of the game in the postseason. And you also have one of the best pitchers in the sport, point blank, period. Hunter Brown, like that's what he is. It sucks that you don't have your entire bullpen, given that what Josh Hader was bringing to you here. But if that offense ticks up just a little bit, all of a sudden I think this thing looks a little bit different because they still can pitch overall. And if you're getting good Fromber, who doesn't apparently just drill his catchers in the chest, like he's a good arm for you. You still have Abreu, and Brian King has been fantastic, and Kurt has been fantastic. Like you can talk yourself. And Isaac Paredes, by the way, is starting to get closer to getting back on the field. I don't know what that looks like. If he's walking to first base, I don't think it necessarily matters. That's just a bat that you want in that lineup. Even if he's pinch hitting in spots, whatever, just adding him to the fold is huge. So there's positive trends with this team. And I do think just the presence of Jordan is just a game changer for him. So I still keep looking at Christian Walker and saying, you need to be the guy. You need to make a difference here. And then the last thing I'll just mention is Zach Cole. He has some of the best raw power in the minor leagues. I am not super high on him as a prospect because he also swings and misses as much as any prospect in the minor leagues. It's like a 35% K rate, but that doesn't necessarily matter that much in these small spurts that they're going to put him in here. He is literally there to be a microwave. Like, I don't think they're looking at him and saying this is a guy that's going to be up for us 160 games next year. This is a guy that has a 56% hard hit rate and a 90th percentile exit velocity of 110 miles per hour, which is one of the best figures in the entire minor leagues. So they're saying, get up here. Maybe you get hot. Maybe you run into some big time power. He's fast. He's definitely just a fun weapon to be able to deploy, and it worked in a couple games. So we'll see what happens there. But and also seems like he has to be a good guy because I saw videos of he just got up to AAA and then immediately got up to the bigs. His whole AA team in Corpus Christi going bananas watching the game on TV.
I love that.
When he hit his first home run. You got to be a good guy if your whole team's reacting that way.
Remember that happened with Jackenzie Noel? And you're
Yeah.
just like, that has to be just the best dude in the world. Like that entire minor league organization erupted like they won the World Series.
Yeah.
And it was a similar video, and you love stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the Astros, again, for me, because they're so inevitable, I look at them on a macro level. And here's what I keep thinking in my mind. There's 3 games in Houston against Seattle. Mariners have been tough on the road. The Astros still control their own destiny. And so do the Mariners. So just because the Mariners pulled in front by a game after the weekend, this division ain't over. And Texas, 2 out of 3
Texas,
against the Mets too, which we're going to
it won't
talk
go
about in a
away.
little bit. This division, it's going to keep flip flopping until the very end. I can't wait to watch. Let's go to my next series: Orioles versus Blue Jays. Jays sweep pretty easily. Well, except for game two. We'll talk about it. Game one, Jays win 6-1. Jackson Holiday struck first with Baltimore for Baltimore, but it was all Jays from there. Vladdy had multiple RBI hits. Dalton Varsho had a 2-run double. Miles Straw as well. Bassett tossed 5 innings, a 1-run ball with 6 Ks, but Trevor Rogers just keeps doing ace shit. Another 5 inning shutout, but his bullpen blew it for him. His ERA is still 1.43. You heard that correctly. Trevor Rogers' ERA is still 1.43. Move to game two. Blue Jays win 5-4. This felt like an easy Orioles win. They came out hot with 2 runs, highlighted by a Gunnar Henderson RBI double. But then Addison Barger homered for the 20th time in the fifth. But then Basayo got it back for Baltimore. And then Kobe Mayo homered in the ninth to make it 4-2. But in the bottom of the ninth, Jays would rally. Loporfido RBI single. The same for Andres Jimenez. And then Alejandro Kirk walked it off with a sac fly. The Orioles wasted a good Tomoyuki Shigano start, going 6 innings, a 1-run ball on just 63 pitches. Move to game three. Jays win in a rout, 11-2. Orioles led for a bit, if you can believe it, courtesy of, again, another Kobe Mayo home run. From there, Jays thumped them. Springer, RBI double, and hit his 29th home run of the year by the fifth inning. And then it got real ugly in the seventh. Barger, Kirk, Ernie Clement, Joey Loporfido drove in runs. Game over. Shane Bieber looked great. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 5 Ks. His ERA is to 3.72. Jay Sweet proved to 87-62. Orioles fall to 69-80. Addison Barger heating up is so big for this Jays offense because
Yep.
he has been cold for a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean like kind of the second half a little bit. I mean, he started hot, but then has just been cool for a while now. And now the Jays are a very good team, right? If he struggles, they can still win games. But for the Jays to really compete, we drafted their offense first. It starts with the bats.
Yep.
And Barger was so good for them in the first half. So good. He's got to get back to that because he's a huge cog in the middle of this lineup. What's up, Kona? Arm's dog
She's
is coming
double
to say
checked.
hello.
This is when you know I've been out of town. When I come back, usually she's good for one podcast check in. Got anything to say?
Look at that Just Baseball
She's got the,
handkerchief on her.
yeah, we've got the Just Baseball doggy bandanas that she was just modeling. Those are in the store. If you want your dog looking great at Bark at the Park, Kona loves her bandana. Um, Now I'm with you. Barger's huge. And you know I'm a big Barger fan, but he was not good for
No.
a pretty good amount of time.
Yep.
You go through that. It seemed like the turn of the calendar really helped him, but you go from basically just how about just the month of August?
August
He had
was
a
so good.
583 OPS,
Yeah.
but then you look at the last 10 games or so. He's been really good.
Huge.
Last 11 games, he's got a 930 OPS. So, yeah, I think he's a great spark. But big reason why I love this Jays team, you mentioned Joey Loperfido. He was just kind of a roster casualty because guys were coming off the IL. I'm sure they told him when they sent him back to AAA, like, you'll be back, but like we just got to figure this shit out right now. When Varsho came back and other guys were coming back, opportunity arises. Lope comes right back up, and he's making an impact for them. They're like 14 deep of like players that are solid that you could plug in and feel pretty good about, and players that could get hot and actually make a huge impact. Joey Loperfido has done that. You've seen now David Schneider do that. Like you've seen Barger. He's a regular now, but like even Isaiah kind of Falefa coming into spots. Heineman's coming in. Like they just have so many different players that can make an impact, and that was just I think a very much highlighted in this series here.
And Blue Jays fans got to be feeling so good because them and the Orioles, no matter how bad or good both teams are, they always battle. And maybe this is just, you know, I don't have the stats to back it up. I think it's true. I think the Orioles have really dominated the Blue Jays, at least over the past couple of seasons. I think even this year. Again, fact check me on that while I'm talking. But I think the Orioles have kind of had their number. To win a series like this, you have a 5-1 win with a good pitching performance. You have a comeback in the ninth, showing that fight, and then a rout. That's got to feel so good. Like these games, these confidence builders going into the playoffs. This series is going to be left for dead. And what I mean by that is, after the weekend's done, it's not really going to get covered outside of, Toronto sports radio. Like, not a lot of people are going to talk about this, but it just felt, especially watching that comeback, like this felt like, holy shit, we're really here. I don't know
Yeah.
that's just how it felt like to me. I'm curious, Blue Jays fans in the comment section below, we'll talk about it in our Discord. Did it feel like that? Was this the series where it's like, we've been great all year? But this, the way we won, the fight we showed, the routes we laid,
Yeah.
this felt like a great send off into the playoffs.
The Blue Jays were 3-10 against the Orioles in 2023, and then 6-7 against them in 2024. And then it's been an even split, I think, this year after
Okay,
that
so
last
I
year.
was
So,
I was kind of
but
right. The
yeah,
Orioles have really done well against this Jays team because the Jays are a first place team, the Orioles are a last place team, and it was still a series split. And is
yeah,
it now a series split after the sweep?
I think so. I think it was
So
including that.
again, the Orioles have had their number even this year. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean this had to have felt good. That's just how I felt. And I
yeah,
was trying to put my mind into Blue Jays fan. Like, I would have loved this series.
no doubt, no doubt.
So many good things looking up for Toronto. All right, let's go to this one was tough. Rangers Mets. Game 1, Rangers win 8-3. The Rangers hung 6 on Jonah Tong in the first inning. He wasn't even able to finish the first, and it was all the Rangers names you know good and well. RBIs from Josh Young, Alejandro Ozuna, Cody Freeman, and Michael Hellman. Mets would fight back, highlighted by a Francisco Alvarez home run, but a Dylan Moore home run late put it away for Texas with ease. DeGrom in his return to Citi Field. Strikeout stuff was not there. He only had 2, but he went 7 strong of 3 earned. His ERA is at 2.82. Move to game 2. Rangers win 3-2. Oh, what a sloppy game. Mets had 11 hits, but went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Rangers basically did the same. They had 11 hits, but 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Both teams had errors, but the Rangers came out on top, and it looked like the Mets were finally going to win, as in the 7th, Juan Soto hit his 40th home run of the year, becoming the 3rd player ever with 40 jacks, 30 steals, and 100 walks in a season, joining Jeff Bagwell and Barry Bonds to make the score 2-0. But in the 8th, Jock drove one home in on a sac fly, and then Rowdy Tellez hit a ground rule double to tie it up in the 8th. And then in the 9th, Wyatt Langford clutch hit to take the lead, and it was over. Wasted a great Brandon Sproat start.
Yep.
6 innings, 6 hits, no earned, 3 Ks. His ERA is down to 2.25, but we moved to game 3. Had to get it. Had to win. And they do. Mets win 5-2 in 10 innings. Nolan McLean would do his best not to let this team fall any further. 6 shutties, 7 Ks, lowering his ERA to 1.19, the lowest in Mets history through his first 6 career starts. Brandon Nimmo homered. Things were good in Queens until the 7th. Peterson tied it up for Texas with a 2-run single, and we head to extras. But in the 10th, need it, got it. Pete Alonso gives the Mets the win. Huge 3-run shot. His 34th of the season. Rangers improve. They win the series 79-71. I don't want to discredit what the Rangers did this series.
No,
I want to
right.
talk about them. But it's like, I mean, the Mets are in a free fall and nobody needed to win more.
That's the biggest swing of the season. That Pete Alonso homer. It has to be.
I
Eh,
maybe I was watching it. I was like, Mets are making the playoffs. That is the start. The dugout. It was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. It was, I mean, it felt like his home run against Milwaukee. I
Yeah.
mean, it had that sort of feel to it where they erupted City Field. And it's like, all right, now we go. Now, if the Mets falter after this, they're getting bounced
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
But that home run felt good. I don't know. It made the hairs on my forearms stick up.
Yeah.
I don't know what
No,
that means for the Mets. I'm just telling you, I got goosebumps.
yeah. And then Nolan McLean, bro. Like, This
So
is as good
good.
as we've seen from a guy starting his big league career.
This is
He's
Matt Harvey, Nolan Ryan, Doc
it's
Gooden start for the
it's
Mets.
he's the guy that's getting the ball game one in the playoffs. Like when does that happen with the guy that you brought up late in the season? It's just outrageous. And then looking at the Rangers side though, this team deserves so much freaking credit,
So
and
much credit.
I think a lot of that should go to the manager as well.
Yep. Bruce
You want,
Bochy.
you want to talk about a vet manager that's, I think, maneuvering this thing well. I'd look at Bruce Bochy. This lineup, man, like you mentioned, Ozuna, Michael Hellman, Cody Freeman in there, and they're making it work. And the fact that everyone's bought in, like this team could have faded so many different times, and I feel like the buy-in that has been there. I mean, you even had things coming out from who was it? Kevin Pillar saying like, kind of talking about how he felt like the clubhouse was kind of dead in there and whatever it may be. Doesn't seem like it to me because this team could have folded so many times and they haven't. And Corey Seager should be back before the end of the season. We'll see what happens with Semien. Like there's reinforcements coming. It's not just like random reinforcement. It's the reinforcement. So I mean, this team, man, I it's just been so impressed by their ability to keep fighting and stay afloat and keep themselves in this thing. And they're 2 games out, right? I mean, they can easily get into this because you mentioned Astros and the Mariners have to play each other. That's an opportunity for them to beat up on each other. I think if you're the Rangers, you probably want just one to sweep the other and just really knock one down. I think you'd probably want the Astros just to get swept if you're the Rangers at that point. But they've got a chance here.
Control their own destiny. And I think that's what any fan wants in the hunt in the middle to late of September. We got 5 series left, but before that, our last break. Next series up, White Sox versus Guardians. Anybody catch this one? Because Cleveland is creeping. Game 1, Guardians win 4-0. This was the Tanner Bybee show. 9 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 10 punch outs. Unbelievable performance by the Guardians right-hander and friend of the Just Baseball show. Love seeing him shove like that. Angel Martinez and David Fry homer to help him out, but again, 9 innings shutty. Guardians win 4-0. Game 2, Guardians win 3-1. Another great pitching performance, this time from Parker Messick, who just does this every time he pitches. He allowed just 1 run over 6 innings, lowering his ERA to 1.84. CJ Kafis and Jackenzie Noel homered for Cleveland, and it was a wrap. Game 3, Guardians sweep, win 3-2. Vargas got the game going for Chicago, doubling home the game's first run, but Bo Naylor grabbed it right back in the bottom half of the 4th and then some, doubling home 2. Chase Mydroth would answer with a home run for Chicago, but Bo Naylor would not be denied, just clearing Mike Tauchman's outstretched arms for his 12th home run of the season, the decisive run in this game. Guardians sweep, improved to 78-71.
Ow.
2.5 games out of the wild card. They have a better record than the Mets, but they're 2.5 games out of the American League wild card, and the White Sox fall to 57-93. Season's kind of over for them. I feel so bad for the Guardians. They're playing great baseball, but it's just like there's a thickness at the top that it's going to be hard to overcome.
Copy paste though what I said about the Rangers. I mean, they've had even more bullshit thrown their way. I mean, with Clase and Ortiz, and just they have to deal with all that. And their offense at times looking anemic. Another team that, I mean, I was expecting them to fade. So the fact that they haven't is really impressive. 9-1 in their last 10 games.
Hell yeah.
I mean, this is wild. And I think vote should be considered for manager of the year just off of the fact that this team is potentially going to finish like 10 plus games over 500. I think there's obviously better candidates, but I think you should get some love in that conversation. It's been amazing to see them hang in there. But and look, I know it's the White Sox, but the White Sox have been one of the best offenses in baseball in the second half. They're not the first half White Sox that are just an easy walkover. I'm not saying they're tough, but it's not like you're playing the Rockies. The Guardians they're impressive, man, and I love it because it's great for baseball. Like this American League wildcard situation is why we have the expanded playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's say the National League might be an example of why it's not always the best. The American League is an example why it is great because you've got several teams that are playing really good baseball down the stretch here that still probably won't make it. And I think it makes it really fun. It's going to be a good battle here.
But again, the Guardians are not out of it. Like I said, 2.5 games back. Again, just a half game back of the Rangers, right? They can catch these teams. The Astros, the Mariners, all these teams, the Red Sox bundled up at the top. None of them are that good, right? They're good teams, but they can go through a tough stretch even in the last week. Like it ain't over in Cleveland. Keep an eye on these Guardians. Move to my next series, Cardinals versus Brewers. Game one, Brewers win 8-2. Brewers hung 4 in the third inning, and that would prove to just be all they needed. Quinn Priester, solid again, 5 and a third, 2 earned. He has earned this third starter spot in the Brewers playoff rotation. His ERA is down to 3.25. He improves to 13-2. I know record isn't like that crazy, but I do include it when a guy's 13-2. Yelich homered as well. Jackson Chourio, Joey Ortiz, all had multi-hit days. Classic Brewers just being awesome. Game two, another just example of the Brewers, even after they clinch. A lot of teams come out flat in that spot. They started flat. It was all Cardinals for most of the game. Cardinals got out to a 3-0 lead off Mizorowski on home runs from Brendan Donovan and Ivan Herrera. And by the sixth, it was 6-1 St. Louis. Think about it. Throwing your not so great bullpen arms, Eric Feddes of the world. You already clinched. Who cares? Not the Brewers. Fight. Putting up 1 in the sixth, 2 in the eighth. And then the Cardinals got one back in the ninth. But then Milwaukee tied it back up on RBI hits from Frelick, Chourio, and Contreras. And we're going to extras. In the 10th, RBI hits from Caleb Durbin and Monasterio on a great AB by Monasterio. Ninth pitch of the AB sealed the comeback for Milwaukee, and they win 9-8. But in game three, letdown game. Cardinals win 3-2. Cardinals scored all 3 of their runs in the second inning, and it was the gauntlet. The Cardinals gauntlet we know well and good. Pedro Pajes, Jose Fermin, and Nathan Church all drove in runs. Exactly the names you probably thought. Now Durbin and Jansen homered from Milwaukee, but the Cardinals hung on. Brewers improved to 91-59, clinching a playoff berth. Cardinals fall to 73-77. Somehow they're just 4 games out of the wild card.
It's crazy.
One quick takeaway on the Brewers before I let you dive in. Brewers had 1.5 holes. Third base was a half hole with Durbin. Just because he's a rookie, you don't really know. Not really a hole anymore. Just kind of,
No.
can Joey Ortiz hit? Because he's going to field.
Yep.
It's Joey Ortiz's bat. That's the hole.
Yep.
That's it. And he hits ninth.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like he's kind of just that throwback 9 hitter right now. Like he's fine. I understand it's frustrating, but when the rest of your team is doing what it's doing, if he's picking it at an extremely high level and can give you some wheels and whatever, like as long as he's just not absolutely atrocious. And I know there were some stretches where he was, but like he's still going to be a 1.5 win player. He's going to steal like 15 bags or so. If that's your 9 hitter, like that's fine. The light hitting, defensive minded shortstop 9 hitter has there's been a lot of teams that have won the World Series with that archetype of player at shortstop. So, I mean, this team seems just continues to roll, and they won in different ways in this series. A couple 1-run games, one blowout game, and I think the Cardinals. It's been nice that they've been able to hang around a little bit, and I applaud Mason Wynn for playing through a torn meniscus that came out. That's crazy.
Why did that happen?
I don't know. I guess they're still in the hunt, man. I guess they said he can't make it worse, so he's playing through it. Like I respect it. It's just like I also said why. So I don't totally understand that, but I imagine if the next series doesn't go great, maybe they shut it down. But yeah, I mean this Brewers team is just an absolute force.
I think they have shut it down with Mason Wynn. He didn't play this series, and I think he's done for the year. I think
Yeah,
that was
I mean,
official.
like why even bother anymore? Get that guy right. He could be a huge piece of your future, and he's an explosive athlete. Doesn't need to play on a torn meniscus. But I appreciate props to him. That doesn't happen a
Oh
lot
yeah.
anymore. But yeah, pack it in for the year.
The only thing Mason Wynn's good for, according to Justin Turner, is that arm, and it's not
Yeah,
even that good. Stop
and
throwing the
who
ball
cares
so
how
hard.
fast you throw it?
Yeah, who cares? Well, he's just a really good player. Rays versus Cubs, next series up. Game one, Cubs win 6-4. Morel got Tampa going early with a 3-run shot against his former ball club, but from there it was all Chicago. Dansby, Bush, and Happ all at RBI hits to tie it at 3, and then Moises Ballesteros tripled. Yep, the bowling ball tripled. Home the 4th run to give Chicago the lead. Ian Happ would homer in the fourth as well, and then the scoring just stopped. Cubs win 6-4. Game 2, Rays win 5-4. Moises Ballesteros hit his first home run of his career, bouncing off the hand of Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo, we got to catch that ball.
Yeah,
It
he's got
was
to catch that. That would have been the most perfect thing in the world. You got to grab that.
Gotta catch that ball. And then he said, well, that's why I'm retired.
Yeah.
Who was in the bleachers with all the Cubs fans treating people to beers on him. Awesome moment. Dansby kept the good times going, ripping a 2-run double to give the Cubs a 3-0 lead after 4, but the Rays would just spoil the entire party, just like baseball does, tying it up. But Michael Busch gave the Cubs life, ripping his 27th home run of the year in the 7th. But then Junior Caminero hit his 43rd home run of the year. He's one of 2 players in MLB history, joining Eddie Matthews back in 1953 to hit 43 home runs or more in their age 21 season. But we're going to have to add another one to the total. We'll talk about it in game 3. But then in the 9th, Nick Fortes, where were you when he gave the Rays the lead on his 5th home run of the year? Game was over. No Cubs go, or no Go Cubs Go song for Rizzo, unfortunately. But game 3, was he there? I'm not sure. Regardless, Cubs win 4-3. Rays scored all their 3 runs in the first 3 innings, and then the Cubs just put the clamps on him. Yandy homered his 24th. Junior homered his 44th. Will Wagner clears, though. And Josh Lowe brought the 3rd run in on a bunt single, but in the 6th, homered to narrow the Rays' lead to 1. Then in the 7th, Nico Horner clutch 2-run double to give the Cubs a series win. Adrian Hauser pitched well for Tampa, 6 innings, 2 earned. ERA to 3.11 this year, and Shota struck out 9 over 5 innings, but he did give up 3 runs. Doesn't matter. Cubs improved to 85 and 64. Rays fall to 73 and 76. They'd be in the wild card hunt, but in the American League, they are 7.5 games out.
Yeah. I think it's encouraging. I mean, this was one of the most tightly played series we're going to go over in this episode, and I thought it was encouraging that the Cubs, who we talk about, okay, how good do you feel about that bullpen? They won 2 out of 3 when it was all 2-run or less games. It was 2 to 1-run games. The bullpen did give it up a little bit in game 2, but I thought for the most part held it down. I thought it was just a really good series in general. I mean, the Rays are playing pretty good ball still, and I mean, you saw a lot of different players I think contribute here for the Cubs. And reminder, again, they're doing it without really Kyle Tucker here too. So I think anytime you can win a series, you don't have Kyle Tucker very involved or involved at all, that's going to be encouraging because I think it buys him a little bit more time to get him back. But all of a sudden, this team's almost 20 games over 500. So through some of this turbulence, still in a very 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 good spot.
Yeah, it's funny. They're kind of falling under the radar because they're not in the division race. The Brewers have just pulled clean ahead. It's not over technically by the magic number, but Brewers are going to win the division. They're not in the wild card race. They're 8.5 games up. So it's like they're not talked about in either race. So we just all say, yeah, they're playing good baseball. They're playing really good baseball. I mean, the Cubs are a fantastic
they're
team.
going to win. They're going to clear 90 wins easily.
Exactly. So the Cubs are a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs. Can the bullpen do enough to get this team to the World Series? I think those are the questions that will be answered come October. Move to second to last series, Angels versus Mariners, 4-game set. Game 1 Thursday, Mariners win 7-6 in 12 innings. Remember, this is a 4-game sweep here. Seattle got out to a roaring start with 2-run doubles by JP, Julio Rodriguez to give him a 4-run cushion. Angels would battle, though. Logan Davidson, first career home run, then 2 more runs. Then Mike Trout tied it up with his 21st of the year, and we go to extras. Both teams score in the 11th. Angels put up 1 more in the 12th. But Jorge Polanco answers for the Mariners, and then Harry Ford brings home the winning run on a sac fly. Move to game 2. Mariners win a close one again. Pitchers duel between Luis Castillo and Yusei Kikuchi as both pitchers went 6 innings while only allowing 1 run, but the Mariners would have the last laugh. Mitch Garver stepped up in the bottom of the 7th in a 1-1 tie and broke it open with his 9th home run of the year. Move to game 3. Mariners win 5-3. Brian Wu was diabolical in this one, striking out 13 while tossing 6 innings, a 2-run ball with only 3 hits allowed. But Joe Adell did homer, his 36th of the season. Aram, his 36th.
Good for him, man.
But J.P. Crawford did the same for Seattle in the 4th, and then a 2-run single by Josh Naylor. I don't think any fan base loves their deadline acquisition more than the Mariners freaking love Josh Naylor. Gave him some breathing room. Now, Taylor Ward, 31st home run of the season in the 9th, but too little, too late. Game 4, Then the Mariners just rout them. And it was pure domination from start to finish on an 11-2 win. Kirby allowed 2 runs on 3 hits and 6 and a third, striking out 14. Cal homered,
Huge.
huge. Cal homered again, tying Mickey Mantle for the most ever by a switch hitter with 54. Polanco had 3 doubles. J-Rod had 2. Canzone had 3 hits. Naylor had 2 hits and 3 RBIs. JP Crawford had 2 hits. Everyone was in on it. Mariners sweep, improved to 82 and 68, a game up in the division. Angels fall to 69 and 81. The Mariners, winners of 9 of their last 10, 9 in a row,
Here they are.
right into October.
This is good timing for them. I mean, this Kirby start, man, like that, and this Emerson Hancock reliever situation, I kind of like what he adds there.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I was watching. I was like, this works,
This
kind
could
of.
be a good bridge guy. You
Yep.
need both guys in the playoffs too, even just to mop it up. He looks like he could do that at the very least. If they get this George Kirby, it changes everything. And so hopefully he can follow this up with another good one. It's funny, this Joe Adele season where he's going to potentially hit 40 home runs is going to feed the Angels' failed prospect fetish even more. And they just did it. Hey, Logan Davidson was a first round pick as well. Um, and he's now getting an opportunity with them. They love this shit, man. It's crazy. But that's something I just every time I like check their lineup, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that name in a while. I guess so last time I saw him, he was on Baseball America's Top 100 years ago. But here we go with another guy there. But no, I think this is a really clear, just positive trend for the Mariners and for Wu and Kirby to do that. Like you can say what you want about the Angels. This lineup is not easy to strike out 13 and 14 against. It's a pretty good lineup still at the top, and it's guys that can burn you with homers still easily. So I mean, this was as encouraging of a series I think as you could get from the Mariners, and puts them in a pretty fun spot now as we roll into some really meaningful games down the stretch.
This rotation, this bullpen, this lineup when they're hitting like that. It's like I watched the Mariners these past, couple of weeks and I'm like, that's the World Series team. That's the team that we all imagine, but it's all on them. Got to put it together. Got to stay consistent because we've seen what they look like on the road. Can you win big road games? Can you go into Houston? Can you win that series? A lot of stuff left to be proven, and this division race is not over. Can't get complacent just because you won 9 in a row. Make
Yep.
it 10 on Monday. I'm not even sure we got to check the schedule if they play on Monday, but make it 10, make it 11. Keep going. Keep the foot on the gas, Seattle. That would be my advice if any of them are listening.
The last thing I'll mention is Harry Ford got called up like two weeks ago, 2+ weeks ago. And he has played in more futures games, I think, in his career than he has MLB games since he's been called up. I get it. Like it, you want to just have as many reinforcements as possible, but man, get this guy a start. Come on. Get Harry Ford a start in here, please. I want to see him
Well,
get his first career hit. This
you get a
guy's played in
bench,
4 futures games. He's played in 4 MLB games since he's got called up. But
you get a bench
uh,
Cal Raleigh to get his.
yeah, give him a day off.
Yeah. In a playoff race, bench Cal Raleigh so
I,
Harry Ford
no,
can overcome the futures game stat.
I- Give Polanco a day off out of the D. I
He
don't
is
know, man.
raking.
I
He
know
is
he's mashing.
unbelievable.
I don't care. Get Harry or pinch hit him more. They did when they were up 11-2. I liked seeing him get in there and then got like hit with a pitch or something. Just anytime you're up big, auto pinch hit Harry Ford, please.
Last series, Yankees versus Red Sox. Game 1, Yankees win 4-1. This was the Luis Heel show. 6 no-hit innings before getting removed due to a high pitch count. His ERA is down to 2.83. Really, really impressive. Looked good lately. I mean, the Yankees to have this arm going into the playoffs is enormous. Judge homered for the 47th time this year. A 468-foot moonshot that Peter Vision had over 600 feet
Wow.
flew out of
Wow.
Fenway Park.
I didn't see that.
Well,
That's
he should have.
that's big news. I don't know the last time we've had a Peter Vision over 600.
I'm telling you, dude, this was. I mean, you know those home runs that go out of Fenway, like clear the monster by a mile,
That should be like for immediate release.
and it
Oh,
comes.
I know. Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yes. That was clearing by a mile and also in left center, not like straight away left.
No, this was.
No,
I mean,
that was
this was not coming down over the monster. This was still traveling beyond the monster, and they came out Statcast when I checked it 442. I was like,
laughable.
I
It's
don't really do.
actually like they're not even trying anymore.
I had to make an exception for 440 plus because Peter Vision I've stuck to anything below 440. That's the home runs
But
that I look at.
that was a miss,
This
though.
was six.
That was just a miss.
This was that looked farther than Nick Kurtz's home run. I'm sorry, it
Yes,
did.
I agree. If that homer happened in 1930,
There'd be a
we'd
seat
be
on the highway.
oh, he correct.
There'd be a
It would be on literally across the street on the highway, sitting there, right there.
If
Yep.
we were doing this podcast in the 1930s with no internet, do you imagine the narratives we would have spun about
Oh
that home
my
run?
gosh. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, whatever. Nate Eaton would hit his first home run of the year late, but too much damage was already done. Moved to game two. Yankees went 5-3, jumped on Brian Bayo early, highlighted by two RBI singles from Jazz Chisholm. Jazz would homer in the fifth, and now over his last 162 games with the Yankees, he has 48 stolen bases and 40 home runs. Per Buster only. The only players to do that within their first 162 games with the team are Otani with the Dodgers and Alfonso Soriano with the Nationals. He's also one of three players with at least 50 homers and 70 steals since the start of 2024, joining just Otani and Jose Ramirez. Bregman would hit a 316-foot home run. Red Sox fans, I never want to hear a word about the short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium. Not a word ever. And Jaron Duran had a pinch hit home run also. I can already hear Red Sox fans probably turn off the show. They get really mad when I tweet that out or say that on the podcast, but it's true. Cody Bellinger, RBI double off Aroldis Chapman on the ninth pitch of the AB. What an at bat. Gave the Yankees some breathing room and it was over. Fried improves to 17-5 with a 3.03 ERA in his first season of a big deal. Had a great season, allowed two earned over 5 1/3 while striking out six. And right now I'm looking at the score. If anyone been watching on YouTube, I've been looking up, just trying to catch as much of the Yankees Red Sox as I possibly can. 6-3 Red Sox, bottom six. Garrett Crochet, 6 innings, 3 earned. Arm, how many strikeouts do you think?
I honestly haven't looked. 8?
12.
Oh.
12 punchies for Crochet. We got him to lead the league in Ks at 11-1.
It's looking good.
Oh, it's
looking
coming
good.
down to the very end. I'm not betting against Scooble.
Well, you
Coming
literally
back
did.
well, I did. And I bet Tigers win total under. So I guess when I look at the numbers, I do make bets.
By
That my
definition,
brain does. I definition bet against Scooble, but what a
no, I
race
know what
this
you're
has
saying.
been.
No. Jazz Chisholm, dude, 10 homers in his last 30 games.
Dude,
It's
he
funny.
is
So like
so good.
great trade for the Marlins. I think like
Yeah.
when you're looking at it in
Catcher
the
of the
grand
future.
scheme, and and they got some other maybe complementary pieces. I think this could go down as one of Brian, and I don't have the trades off the top of my head like the way you would, but like I think this could go down as one of Brian Cashman's best trades in the last handful of years, pretty easily. Because I just think the dynamic that Chisholm brings to the Yankees is put on display now all the time. But and then the versatility defensively, he's plugged multiple gaps. Like he helped the Yankees get to the World Series. Obviously, there was a lot of other guys contributing there, but I think his versatility helped there. And they moved him around multiple positions in that year, and then now he's playing second base and has settled into. I mean, you look at the second base position; it's terrible. Like in Major League Baseball right now, he's been one of the best second basemen, period, in the sport. I just think it looks like, and then with the years of control, it just looks like a really, really good trade for the Yankees.
The only trade off the top of my mind that I would say is better is bringing in Jose Caballero. I'm like joking, but I'm not. If you've been listening to the show for a long time, you know I am standing by Anthony Volpe. I'm not paid by Yankees PR. I have gotten that DM. I think that's kind of funny.
I wish we were. I'd do that.
I know I would. Oh, I'd so do it. You'd hear narratives you've never even heard before. But no, nobody's paying me anything. Um, it's just been depressing. And to then watch Caballero then now start to get some consistent starts here. The defense is so much better. The ABs are way better.
That's the thing is he's not gonna get
He's a
he's not gonna
40
K every time.
He's a 40 stolen base guy. Perfect 9 hitter. He's got to start for the rest of the year. You can't have Volpe back in. And
Wow, rest of the year.
yeah, sorry. I mean, what are we waiting for right now, Arm? It's the middle of September. Like, at the end of the day, if he's playing better defense, which is the most important thing, because it's not like either is so offensively gifted like Volpe when he put up a 3-win season last year. Can I remind everybody he put up a 3-win season last year? It's because his defense was all world. He was a Gold Glover
Yeah.
and deserved it.
Well, also
He was an
last
87 WRC plus guy. But now that he's an 81 WRC plus guy and the defense is so bad, he's unplayable.
it's so
It's
mental
mental.
at
I
this
know it
point.
is, but
It has to be. I feel so bad for him.
I feel bad for him too, but it is what it
No,
is. Like, it's got
I
to be
know.
Caballero.
Last 25 games, 140, 173, 258 slash line. That's a
You just can't.
432 OPS. It's just,
It's Caballero's job, and Boone, he's been bouncing around the idea like he doesn't want to come out and say like this is Caballero's job. He keeps calling it like day to day. Saw that report that he said it was like a game by game type of approach, and Volpe's taking ground balls, and he's going to be back in the lineup soon. I'm like, Boone, and I know he's doing it because he doesn't want to put any more negativity in the mind of a
yeah.
young guy like Volpe. And Caballero is a pro. He knows what his role is. Like, he's there if you need him. If you're going to bench him, you're not going to hear a peep. So he's like, Cabby probably like, it's going to be hit or miss. Like, Volpe is the shortstop of the future here, or at least that's what he's been pegged to be. But Boone, you got to come out and say it's Caballero's job for the rest of the year.
Well,
Like, we
he
got to,
doubled
it's,
in each of those first two games of
dude,
the series. Like you said, the defense is better, and he's a better base stealer at this point.
it's everything that makes Volpe good. Caballero's doing. So it's
Yeah.
like, what are we talking about here?
And the force is higher right now.
And it's just, I talk about it all the time, like putting my head on the pillow and just like having some sweet dreams. Like, Caballero is just much more sound of a baseball player right now.
Yep.
Now, is this the end of Volpe in New York? I have no idea. Don't even want to say
It
that.
doesn't
Like,
have to be though, like
right?
just because you're
And
starting him the rest of the year.
again, he was a 3-win player last year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not giving up. I'm
But
not.
he can
I'm
have the
starting him at
offseason to
short
get
next
right.
year. Off season to get right. He's still so young. Like, 90% of Yankee fans have just given up completely. I'm not. But for the rest of this year, it's got to be Cobby's job.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all.
Anything else? Crochet is a monster.
Yeah. That's all I got. And Judge is all the way back. And
Yeah.
he homered again on the Sunday game. So it's been crazy to see. But yeah, that's all I got.
So that'll do it for this episode of the Just Baseball Show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. And again, the best way to support this show without spending a dime, just rate and review Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your shows, as well as liking, subscribing, and commenting on YouTube, as well as get some Just Baseball merch. Why not? I'm rocking the hat. I'm rocking the sweatshirt. I don't know if you could see it. Fire
Yeah.
hoodie.
That one's so soft.
Arms rocking the hat as well. Go get yours.
Kona's rocking the bandana. That's
Kona's rocking the bandana. Right? It's getting a little chilly out there. Go get yourself a hoodie. I'm telling you, they're awesome. You're going to love it. And make sure to join our Discord, the best baseball group chat in the world. Only $10 a month. You can find the link in the episode description. For Arm Layton, I'm Peter Apple. See you tomorrow. With that, thank you, everybody.